every 20 minutes. It's your statewide Alabama Weathercast.
Good afternoon. I'm meteorologist Drew McCombs with the Alabama Weather Network, and this is your afternoon statewide forecast. And taking a look across the state, got scattered clouds around in some spots, some sunshine in other spots. Got a few showers there along from kind of Demopolis up towards Montgomery and up towards Auburn and Opelika. But the heavier rain is still up in the northern part of the state. You got a few showers that have started to sort of wind down a little bit more around the I-65 corridor, but some heavier showers, maybe a few storms starting to cross the state line at this point. And we'll take a closer look at that. And so again, we've had some heavier showers in the Tennessee Valley. You have a aerial flood warning that was issued a couple hours ago that's still in effect until 2:30 Central Time. And but there's not as much heavy rain in that area now, but there were areas of heavy rain earlier. But a lot of that has sort of fallen apart here, and there's just scattered showers left over in the areas where there was some fairly heavy rainfall several hours ago. But rain totals over the past 12 hours, there have been kind of an area of 3 to 6 inch rain totals from parts of eastern Franklin County, also Colbert counties, Lawrence counties, southern Lauderdale counties. And you can see some of these totals here near places like Town Creek, Hatton, Newburgh. So again, there was quite a bit of rain there, enough to probably get the creeks a little bit swollen. Haven't heard of any reports of major issues with that, so that's always good. Now, looking back to the southwest, what we've got going on right now, the heavier showers have started to move across the state line in places like Marion County, west of Hamilton there, starting to move into the northern part of Lamar County there, north of Sulligent here near Detroit. Again, it looks like along Highway 278 now you got some very heavy rainfall heading towards Guin, and a few heavier cells starting to move over right about to cross I-22 as well. So this is the area of the state right now where we've got some of the heaviest rain and a couple of thunderstorms around. Looking back towards the southwest, got a few other cells near Columbus, Mississippi, moving towards the state line. So eventually it'll be into parts of southern Lamar County and into Pickens County, but those don't look as heavy, at least right now, as the ones further towards the north. Okay, let's take a look at our sky cam. So Florence has been where there was some rain earlier, but not as much right now. Looking out over the new football stadium there on the campus of the University of North Alabama, 67 degrees out there, and with just some kind of gray overcast skies at this point. As we look at Russellville, there's rain in the area there now. I still got some rain on the lens there. You can see a little bit of rain off in the distance. It's 65 degrees. It's certainly cooler in these areas where there's been lots of rain and some cloud cover today. And you can see as we move to the south, Alabaster, a good bit warmer and got sunshine and not too many clouds out there. Pretty nice look there. It's 82 degrees in Alabaster, south of the Birmingham area. And then as we look a little bit further south down to Montgomery, again, you've got there's some of those showers that are nearby there, kind of north of Montgomery. Still some blue peeking through the clouds there, but the temperature is 82 degrees, so still fairly warm since rain hasn't actually gotten to that reporting site quite yet. And then getting all the way down to the coast, it's a pretty nice day down at Dauphin Island. It's only 83 degrees. You can see here blue skies, just a few clouds in the distance. Looks like the waters are fairly calm down there, and the dew point's only at 66, which is pretty comfortable. So we'll definitely take that. So what we're watching for today and the rest of this week, again, scattered showers moving through kind of the northern half of the state and a little bit into the kind of south central part of the state. Again, we expect that to be mostly over North Alabama for the foreseeable future. For the rest of this week, best rain chances will be in the northern part of the state, not expecting nearly as much in southern and kind of coastal Alabama. Cold front arrives on Thursday, bringing some drier air with it, but not huge rain chances with that. Still a little bit elevated chances towards the north, but not expecting much change down in the southern part of the state. Here are your current temperatures right now. Again, in places where it's been raining, it's still in the 60s. It's 66 in Coleman, it's 68 in Huntsville, 68 in Florence, 74 in Hamilton. Then down to the south where there's not as much rain and cloud cover, we're in the 80s, and you can see places down towards Monroeville, it's 85 degrees. So not quite into the upper 80s anywhere yet, but still very possible and still likely we'll get to that here in the next couple of hours before we start to cool down. Forecast lows for tonight, pretty widespread 60s and not a lot of change as you move across the state here. It looks like mainly kind of mid 60s across the board, maybe closer to 70 down towards the south. So again, we're not nearly as cool as we had been at times some last week, but still it's not too bad for early September. And then forecast highs for tomorrow should be fairly similar. Again, depends on if we get some rain in some spots. We may not get quite to this, but generally the idea would be mid to upper 80s. But we're not expecting maybe quite as much widespread rain tomorrow as we saw so far today in the northern part of the state. All right, let's take a look at the Futurecast as we get through the rest of the afternoon. So again, a few scattered showers still possible, still moving across the state line potentially this evening, but should start to dissipate as we get past sunset. And then as we get overnight, might have a few rumbles of thunder move through overnight into tomorrow morning. And then as we get into tomorrow morning, again, cloud covering kind of the central part of the state, few showers scattered around. But again, towards the south, better chance of just having mainly sunshine and not as much as far as rain is concerned. As we then move into later on in the day for tomorrow, again, you've got some scattered showers and storms over Mississippi, but not expecting those to get too far into Alabama. Still scattered showers, but definitely a good bit of sunshine out there. And as we get into Thursday, then again, similar story and maybe a little bit more widespread showers as that front starts to approach from the north. So I'd expect a little bit widespread, more widespread showers in the northern part of the state. And again, some could sneak into the southern part of the state as well. Certainly still a possibility. All right, here's your tropical development chance over the next 7 days. And we've got this red area here that the National Hurricane Center has been monitoring. That is a 70% chance of development for this wave right here, and it's going to be moving in this direction over the next week. And so it's a 70% chance that it's going to become a tropical system. Expecting at this point that this will be a tropical depression as we get through this week. Thankfully, as you go back to the west, though, still quiet in the Caribbean, still quiet in the Gulf. And again, we will certainly be watching this as we move through the next week to see where it ends up going. But for right now, at least, we're still good in the kind of local area here. Here's your rainfall outlook for the next week. So again, we're expected to not see a ton of rain. We're starting to get to the point where some places probably could use a little bit of rain here. But again, the southern part of the state, not really expecting a lot more than a quarter inch or so. And then up to the north could get closer to an inches in some spots up there with stuff that's falling today and through the next day or two. Temperature outlook, we're seeing a little bit of moderation with that compared to what we saw last week, but still, as we look at next week, still possible that the northern half of the state is a little cooler than normal. As you move south, though, maybe more kind of around average or maybe a little bit warmer than normal. So still a little bit more seasonable probably than what we saw last week. All right, here's your 7-day forecast for North Alabama. Again, elevated rain chances the next couple of days, highs in the low to mid 80s. And then as we move in the weekend, it's going to be kind of warm on Friday. We're going to have this frontal passage that's going to bring in some drier air, but still could be pretty hot on Friday, just not as humid as it could be. But the weekend looking pretty good as highs are down into the 80s. A reinforcing shot of a little bit cooler air should be coming in on Saturday, and that's going to help things be pretty nice to kind of round out the weekend and go into early next week. Looking at South Alabama, again, expecting to be warmer with smaller rain chances the next couple of days. Again, not too bad as we have a little bit lower the humidity than what can be typical this time of year. And we kind of warm up as we head towards the weekend, but still low rain chances overall. Not seeing a big chance of rain in the southern part of the state for at least the next 7 days, but that could be changing after that. Well, that's your afternoon forecast update. We'll have another one later on this evening on the Alabama Weather Network.